Hey everyone, as you can see, I'm at the midpoint of Route 66, halfway between Chicago and Santa Monica. And from here I'm going to travel the route westbound from Adrian, Texas, where we are right now, to Santa Monica. So I hope you come along for the fun. Okay, right now I'm actually standing on Route 66 and you can see this little stripe in the road. That's the actual midpoint. It says Midpoint right on it. And across the street is the Midway Cafe. Now the Midway Cafe is still in operation today, and it's the longest running cafe on Route 66 in Texas as far as the reports go. It was built in 1928 and expanded in 1947. And back in its heyday, it was open for 24 hours. Now the owner from, I think it was something like 1990 to 2012, was someone by the name of Hauser, and she was the inspiration for the character Flo in the movie Cars. Okay, it's time to head into the cafe and meet Midpoint waitress Julie. Howdy.
Hi, honey. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Bathrooms are through the screen door, honey. Men's to the right, ladies to the left.
Okay.
And the gift shop's that way. You sit anywhere you like.
Are you serving food this morning?
Yes, sir.
I thought you were just going to call me Hun.
I call everybody hun, baby sugar. It don't mean nothing. My boss is the same way. We know most of the people that come in here.
You do?
Yeah, are locals.
They're not all tourists like me?
Here starting between now, well, spring break.
Oh.
Till almost the end of October. About spring break on is when it starts going in your You better pick it up and run.
How long have you been working here?
Almost 3 years. I'm starting my third year.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So I want some sort of breakfast if you have it.
Okay. Well, I can't serve you breakfast because, I can. Yeah, I can.
Oh, is it?
We ain't got that burger on there yet.
Oh, is there a time of day you stop serving breakfast?
10:30.
Oh, okay.
As long as we don't put that hamburger on the grill,
oh, I
you're
see.
in safe hands. Would you like some coffee or something?
Yes, please.
Sugar and cream?
Just cream. And I think I'll have 2 eggs over easy with bacon, hash browns, and toast.
White or wheat, huh?
Wheat, please.
Wheat, you got it. Anything else, babe?
That and a coffee, and I'm good.
All righty.
Yeah.
You need some ketchup or Tabasco sauce?
Maybe a little Tabasco sauce. I like it spicy.
Oh, my husband does too, honey.
I kind of lucked out because when I got there were a few people there and then they left. I was before lunch, so I'm able to show you the cafe while it was empty, but by the time I left, it was about 3/4 full, so they're definitely keeping busy now. This is the gift shop, and they have all sorts of cool stuff here. They got a lot of stickers, t-shirts, plaques, baseball caps, all kinds of memorabilia, Route 66 related, and they have a collection of cars as well because of the movie Cars. One interesting thing for me was this guitar, and next to the guitar was a signed photograph from Loretta Lynn, who is one of my favorite country music artists. She unfortunately died very recently, but she's a fantastic singer. I mentioned that I'm going to head west from the midpoint, but I was slightly lying to you because there's one thing I have to do that's a little bit east of here, and that's visit the Cadillac Ranch. So let's go do that and check it out. Hey everybody, I'm located at Cadillac Ranch, which is just east of Amarillo, Texas. This art display was originally commissioned by a fellow by the name of Ralph Stanley III, and he used the number 3 in his name because he didn't like the pretentiousness of using a Roman numeral. Anyway, in 1974, he commissioned a San Francisco art group called the Ant Farm to do the installation, which originally was about 2 miles west of here, closer to Amarillo, and then it was moved here in 1997. It's important to note that nowadays this is an important part of the lore of Route 66. However, it wasn't installed until 1974, and by then the Route 66 was in a state of deep decline, and also it never was actually on Route 66 in either location. So even though it's part of the Route 66 lore nowadays, it wasn't originally intended for that purpose. One interesting fact is that these cars were originally purchased in 1974 for an average price of about $200 each. And I think nowadays cars like these would have been candidates for restoration, but back then they were just junkers. The cars are oriented due west, and the cars are angled at a similar angle to the original pyramids. So that was part of the concept, and there's a total of 10 cars. The place is so popular right now, it's virtually impossible to have it to yourself. If you want to have the place to yourself, you better come mighty early. But I would say, generally speaking, if you want better light, it's probably better in the afternoon, but it's going to be a lot busier. It's about 9:30 in the morning right now, and it's already getting really crowded. So I think right at dawn would be the best time if you want to have a picture without a bunch of people in it. One thing to note is that it's actually encouraged that people do graffiti on the cars with spray paint. You can put your name on it, but it'll be covered up within an hour or two, honestly, and the paint is so thick and bulbous on the cars, it's unbelievable. As it turns out, there's a place where you can grab a spray can because people leave them behind. There's plenty of spray paint here, even if you don't bring any. What happened when the installation was originally done is the cars were really look like Cadillac, and eventually people started scratching their names in them. After that, it started becoming a place where a lot of graffiti was done. And now the paint is so thick on the cars, you can't even really make out the fact that they're Cadillacs anymore. Stanley himself encourages the graffiti. However, to me, they just no longer resemble cars anymore. But it's still a very interesting visit, and it's kind of a must stop if you're in the area. We leave Cadillac Ranch and get on Route 66, which is often a frontage road on I-40. And then I made a mistake and came to a dead end. I was supposed to get on the exit 18, but I didn't. And there was this gate which had a chain around it, but the chain was not locked, so you could actually get through it. And you can access the next exit if you take the dirt road, but I did not. I chose to get back on I-40. The nice thing about being on the frontage road is you get to see some old abandonments, which is kind of fun, and I love that kind of stuff. If you don't, you can just stay on I-40. Next up is the rather strange town of Glenrio. You get off the freeway, and it's a little out of the way, but you get back onto Route 66, and there's some old abandonments there that are pretty cool. There's an old 60s Pontiac. Here's another diner place that's cool. And then there's also a motel there. But the strange one is this new smoke shop, the Glenrio Smoke Shop. And it's under construction, and they're putting a lot of effort and work into it, but it's out of the way. So I just cannot see how it could possibly be successful. From Glenrio, there's a dirt road that'll take you all the way to San Juan, which is spelled Jon. And I got on that road and realized I was low on fuel, so I turned around and went back to I-40. So I fueled up, crossed into New Mexico, then tried to take a dirt road from exit 369 to get back on the dirt path to San Juan. So I arrived at this desolate place called Endy, and I did find the dirt road, but it was closed off. But the town of Endy was really interesting, and some strange things happened there. There was an old dilapidated restroom that said modern restrooms, which I thought was a joke, but apparently it really was a flusher back in the day. But what was most interesting is it was a huge graveyard of old cars. I mean, some really nice old cars. I went up to the gate of where the old cars were, and there were signs saying no trespassing, keep out, etc. So I elected to send up the drone so I could check them out, and I did, and it was a pretty amazing collection of cars, as you can see. But when I was done, I put the drone away, and the owner of the junkyard came out and in his car and pulled up next to me and wanted to talk, and he actually was extremely irate. And basically his argument was, I don't want you looking at my stuff, and he used a different S word, but he was quite angry, and I just tried to tell him that, I came up to the gate, saw the no trespassing sign, and I respected those, so I turned around. And we had this argument. It was interesting, and he was pretty much not verbally or physically threatening, but he's just very, very angry, and there's nothing I could say that would calm him down. So I decided to just leave it be, and my plan was to camp at San Juan that evening, and I decided discretion is the better part of valor, so I elected not to stay in San Juan because I didn't want to give him the opportunity of seeing me again when he went back to town and revisiting the argument in a more violent way. So anyway, the guy was super cool, but I just thought it would be best to move on, and sometimes it is when you're camping. For that reason, I elected to carry on to the town of Tucumcari. No pun intended. The other thing I would mention is that the road appeared to be closed, but it just said no through traffic, so I think you could actually get through. I have no idea why, whether it was due to mud or dirt. So I elected to just take the dirt road back to the I-40 and take I-40 into the town of San Juan. San Juan is a great place to explore. It was once a big metropolis, but now it's half abandoned, but it's still alive. But it's fun to drive through and see all the abandoned buildings. And I ended up heading back over to the dirt road from the west end to see if it was closed off there. It was not, so presumably you could get through. But I drove around, checked everything out, and I should point out that there's some great camping at a city park in town. It's free overnight camping. It's a beautiful, quiet spot, and I highly recommend it. I stayed there on my outbound on my way to Cadillac Ranch. But as you travel the old Route 66, you can see tons of abandoned buildings, and it's quite a sight. I really enjoyed it very much. And then from there, my next move was to get back on Old 66 and head over toward Tucumcari. The old abandoned buildings continue for quite a while as you head west out of the town of San Juan, as it was a pretty large town back in the day. And once you get pretty far out of town, you come to the Revuelto Creek, which has an old bridge on one side and the new bridge on the other side. More abandoned places with old cars, and then I stopped to take in a view in the distance of the mountains before eventually arriving in Tucumcari. Once there were no shortage of abandonments to explore, and this cleverly named smoke shop made me laugh. This is the Frog Ranch House Cafe, which is abandoned, and here are some old VWs at a garage and a 1963 Chevrolet lowrider, which was kind of cool to look at. I found a car wash so I could clean up my van, which is kind of dirty, and then I noticed this guy riding an electric bike towing a long trailer down the way, and then just started exploring around. This is the Blue Swallow Motel, which is one of the best places. This is Kick's Restaurant on Route 66. I'm going to check it out.
Yes, for a little bit.
Huh.
How about right here?
This place was originally a Denny's and then it was converted to a diner late in the game, and it has all the great Route 66 memorabilia on the wall, so it's a cool place to visit and the food is great, as is the staff.
So you got some Mexican food stuff, right?
Yeah.
And burgers. What's your kind of specialty that's extra good, or?
I think the Taste of the South, we do pretty good on that page. Alrighty,
I think I'll get the combo plate with chicken.
And then do you want the chips and salsa as well that comes with it?
Sure.
Okay.
My wait person Samantha advised me that she saw me take a picture and waved, and there's a shot of my food.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So will there be neon lights on the avenue tonight?
Yes, and they shut down around 10 or 11, just so you know.
Do they turn them on in the morning, or?
I'm not sure. To tell you the truth, I suppose if they turn them off at 11, they must come back on at a certain time. I know the Blue Swallow shuts them off, and that's the best one. Well, the La Cita that's on at the stoplight, check that out because it turns, and they just renovated it, and it's all full of flashing lights. It's my favorite one.
That's the Mexican restaurant up there?
Yep, and there's a man who's restoring it. It's usually about $18,000 per sign, but he's doing it just to restore them for $2,000 a piece.
Oh, it'll bring a lot of people through. Yeah.
Yes, and the centennial for the Route 66 is in 2 years, so 2026 will be 100 years.
Oh, that's right.
Yep.
It's the year it opened, right?
Yep, it was just before the Great Depression. Yep.
Yeah.
Grapes of Wrath and all that. Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks so much.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Have a
What's
great
your name?
evening. Taylor.
Taylor. I'm Paul. Nice to meet you.
Oh, Paul.
Yeah.
That's nice to meet you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. I hope we get some good neon shots.
Okay.
Okay, so after my chat with Taylor, I headed out on the town to see the neon lights as night was falling. And the first one is La Cita Cafe, and you can see that it does turn around as she was saying. There's the Americana, and following that is the Safari with the guy on the camel. And then on the left there's the Blue Swallow, which has animation. This is the famous teepee, which is very, very cool. And this is Dell's restaurant, which is a popular restaurant, really quite good. There's the Palomino there. On the left is the teepee as we're coming back, and there's the Blue Swallow again. You can see the animation. And there's the Safari on the left, and you see Loretta's on the right there. And there's La Cita again. And now we're going to turn around and come and see La Cita one more time. There's the Americana again, followed by the Safari and Blue Swallow on the left with animation. There's the teepee. So the neon lights in Tucumcari are getting better and better. There's Dell's on the right, and then it's time to bed down. So I head back to the Flying J, pull into the lot, and you can see they have spaces for trucks and RVs, and I'm just going to back in and find my spot. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. Check back for day 2 on Route 66, and until next time, thanks for watching.